Okay, this should be connected together. I love setting this shit up. I love setting this shit up. In case people aren't at the actual event location, I'm just finalizing things on my end before starting this up. In case people aren't at the actual event location, I'm just finalizing things on my end
That's gonna
before
be
starting
echoing
this up.
bad. Let me mute that.
Alrighty, we're in that last slash add to get any stragglers in. It looks like PPQ has not responded to my DM yet, so that's fine. I'll bring them. I'll bring whoever's in as needed. I'm gonna give it another like minute for any stragglers to get in, and then we'll get it kicked off. A screenshot. Let me stream in the VC as well. Alrighty, so for those of you who attended, welcome to the MZPA Public Affairs Town Hall, where we're going to have some secretary members. At the moment, just two. Juniper said after DOS is done counting Senate elections, she might be able to swing by, and any of the other cabinet picks that I have reminded about this event, if they join, I'll bring them up. At the moment, we have the DOC and DCT picks, Alicia Corinne, I hope I said that right, and Cato, respectively. I'm first going to go ahead and give the floor to I'm going to start with Alicia if you want to kind of say what your hopes are for this term and what your main goals are, and then I'll do the same for Kata before opening up the floor to the people to ask questions. You can either type in game and I'll read what you say, or you can use VC. Either works. It looks like she elected to type, so I'll just read what you say. So, hello everyone. My main goals for the DOC are improving its internal policies, guides, and requirements for businesses to create a more clear and coherent system that promotes development while ensuring compliance with existing laws. And then I'll just continue reading what you post. Working to introduce more methods of generating government revenue with resource sinks for wealthier players so that there are more options for investment than just land and real estate. Sorting out our SOWF is a large priority as well as players still have not been able to get back the access to the funds lost as a result of the financial crash. We are still yet to have recovered from this, and I would like to see more work done to help Redmond's economy back on its feet due to this. And then once you're finished, I'll reread what you said top to bottom, so it's all in one big blurb. More interdepartmental communication is also necessary, including with the DOE and DCT to help work on these mentioned methods of revenue and economic growth. I also plan to be in contact with the Federal Reserve Board to help integrate our compliance and auditing with them, so that we can work better, or so that we can both work better to regulate the financial sector. And that's about the main gist of things. Feel free to ask me any questions. So, like I said, I'm gonna go back to the top, read it all the way down, and I'll do the same for Cato if he types, or you can use voice if he wants. So, hello everyone. My main goals for the DOC are improving its internal policies, guides, and requirements for businesses to create a more clear and coherent system that promotes development while ensuring compliance with existing laws. Working to introduce more methods of generating government revenue with resource sinks for wealthier players so that there are more options for investment than just land and real estate. Sorting out the SOWF is a large priority as well, since players have still not been able to get back the access to the funds lost as a result of the financial crash. We still have yet to recover from this, and I would like to see more work done to help Redmont's economy get back on its feet due to this. More interdepartmental communication is also necessary, including with the DOE and DCT to help work on these mentioned methods of revenue and economic growth. I also plan to be in contact with the Federal Reserve Board to help our compliance and auditing with them, so that we can both work to better regulate the financial sector. And that's about the main gist of things. Feel free to ask me any questions. So now I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to Cato if he wants to type out or uh, use his voice to explain, give himself an intro, and then I'll open the floor to you guys. Yep, and then Cato is elected to type, so yep, it's on. So my main plans for the future are basically to add quality of life fixes, extensive town support, and to clean up the city. My main construction plan for the future few weeks is finishing more cultural enclaves, a prison clinic, and a full rework of the Rayville Heights, among other potential smaller things. I also plan to introduce speed bonuses for quick pace and construction work. Yep, and that's about all for now. Thank you. So again, from the top, so my main plans for the future is to basically add quality of life fixes, extensive town support, and clean up the city. My main construction plan for the future few weeks is finishing more cultural enclaves, a prison clinic, and a full rework of the Rayville Heights, among potential smaller things. I plan to also introduce speed bonuses for quick pace and construction work. And that's about all for now. Thank you. So now I'm gonna, like I said, open up the floor to. Didn't make one, but working on my opening statement helped. Perfect. So I'm gonna open the floor to people in the crowd to ask any questions. If you wish to use your microphone, you can use the request to speak. Otherwise, if you wish to use text chat, just paste a question in stage VC, and I will read it out for you. Um, Both Alicia and Kato, if you want, you can stand up by the podium because it would be whoever asks questions can decide who they're asking it to. In the event that another secretary joins, like I said, Juniper might. She said she might show up because she has to do DOS work. I'll have them do their introduction and continue back with the schedule planning. So like I said, floor is now open if you want to raise your hands. All right, so I see yours, Roby Demons. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you up to speak.
Hello. Yeah, just give me a second. I'm trying to formulate it. Uh, First of all, hello, and thank you for having me here in stage to ask a question.
Yep, no problem.
So this is a question coming from the Redmond Institute. So it's not coming from me personally, but it's a question that us within the think tank were meaning to ask the DOC secretary, if we could. During
Yep.
the last presidential debate, there seemed to be an emphasis on increasing the price of real estate. The data shows that the average sales price per auction has been drastically reducing for 3 months in a row. During the last debate, the presidential candidate and the current president, PPQ, said that she would implement policy in order to raise the price of real estate. My question to the new DOC secretary is, will PPQ still attempt to do this, or will the administration take a more market approach to real estate and try to find a price that is perfectly balanced with the demand of the market, or will they push towards increasing the price of real estate? Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you for the question.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I have another question after this.
Yep, yep, you're free to ask.
I'll ask it now since it's for Kato. Kato, this is a personal question of mine. There's many spawns in the server, specifically spawn north, that haven't been as developed as our main central spawn. Does the DCT plan to encourage investment in these areas and increase the infrastructure in these underutilized spawn locations? Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for asking again. Oh, this is fun. Someone's spam selling me stuff. Okay, good. I didn't miss anything. Yep, so Kato says for the DCT related question, I plan to replace slash spawn north with a new slash spawn east command and move spawn north to the northern business district.
That seems as a wonderful solution. Thank you.
Yep, thank you for asking that question. And then Alicia says for the DOC question, I'm prepared to work with the president to implement policies that help support the price of real estate with work being done to resolve I can't read, SOWF. I anticipate that real estate prices will naturally rise. Real estate being such a large part of the economy, it is important to consider its role. I do not wish to artificially prop up prices, but rather guide them to the level where people are happy with uh, through changes in the market and plot opportunities.
That seems like a wonderful answer too. A wonderful idea.
Yep. Perfect. Thank
Um,
you. Yep.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave the stage now.
Yep. Perfect for thank you for asking those questions. If someone else wants to throw a question in the stage VC chat or raise their hand to be added up to the stage, feel free to do so. Yep, I can bring Roby Demon back up here for another question.
Yeah, I wanted to to give others the chance to ask a question, but since nobody's asking, I guess I'll ask another question.
Yep, feel free.
This is another question for the DOC secretary. There have been many concerns regarding the way the DOC currently calculates CPI. Primarily, these concerns are that it doesn't properly account for the weight in the spending by the individual. So at least the way CPI is calculated in real life is that the Federal Reserve Bank puts out these questionnaires, and depending on the answers of the questionnaires, it then weighs the CPI. My question is, does the DOC plan to change its current calculation method, or does the current method seem sufficient enough considering this is a Minecraft server? Maybe some things are out of reach. Thank you very much.
Yep, again, thank you for asking that question to Elijah or Alicia. I hope I'm saying that right. Uh, while Alicia's typing a response, I'm gonna bring up Winter Wolf, since you're one of the secretaries.
Hello.
Hello. After she types out this response, I'm then going to open the floor to you to kind of explain your goals, about you a bit, and then I'm going to open the floor back to people asking questions. I'm
Yeah,
gonna wait.
sure.
I'm gonna wait for Alicia to finish the response to Roby Demon's question.
Okay.
Which actually she is pasted right now. So she has said, I have not received much input on issues with the CPI so far, but you've raised a good point. The CPI has frequently had issues in the past in accurately representing the price of items and what people are willing to pay for them. We are limited in what data we can get from staff to create the CPI reports, but methods such as surveys of individuals and businesses could prove to be useful in further refining our assessment of Redmont's economy. Yep, so then again, thank you, Ruby Demon, for the question, and thank you for the answer. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor now to Winterwolf to kind of explain the plan for this term and about yourself. And then if you want as well, you can also step up on the stage at the slash event warp. It's not required, it's there
Yeah,
for
sure.
symbolic
Let
reasons
me
if you want, but the floor is now yours.
let me get to the event warp. Hello. My name is Winterwolf. I have served as the I'm currently the acting secretary of the Interior, and I've been the secretary of the Interior for last three presidents, and as well as the deputy secretary between December 15th and February 15th of 2024 to 2025. I've also served as an executive advisor inspection manager, and obviously as a supply manager and senior ranger. My goals for the DOI include making some adjustments to the supply program. So having more market, we've tested bulk variable tenders and they've proven relatively successful in where there's a limited number of blocks, there's a set price, and whoever first comes, first serves for the bid. And my intention with that is for another type of tender, which is a market-based tender. So it'll operate similarly to the tenders we currently have, where it's a set amount of materials and there's a certain price, and whoever has the lowest price, obviously wins. So our plan is to have a new type of tender where it's cost per block. Players bid in barrel amounts because that's easy to calculate, and whoever has the lowest cost of block, or the number of bidders who have the four lowest cost of blocks, they'd win the tender, and yeah, we go from there, and that introduces more market-based bidding. A few other things I'd like to do is obviously Willow. So there's currently four projects that I have in progress. One of them is the tractor system in Willow. So recently there's been 3.5 tractors pasted throughout Willow. One of them is actually just a carriage and no tractor because of the limited street space. But our intention with the tractors is to have it act as a bus, because Willow is commonly associated with farming, and buses wouldn't make sense. So have tractors with carriages, which I helped build with End. Our Another goal we also have is informational guides for each animal at the zoo. I'll be working with the DOE on that. Obviously, the Willow Business District, in which we have existing buildings. They need to be fixed a little bit, but after that happens, it'll be a business district like the CBDs or the NBDs, the North Business District. And lastly is the animal and pet spacing policy. Right now, it's just getting reviewed again in the DOJ before being posted for everyone to see. And for that, nothing's really changing in regards to floor space. It's mostly just what's it called? Just airspace. So the space above an animal's head, because you don't want like a bunch of uh, pigs crammed into an area, which floor space is fine, but it's just like one block high. That doesn't, kind of inhumane. Um, and obviously for future plans, finish the interior of the Willow Town Hall, and obviously just more tenders, and look into expanding some of the responsibilities of especially supply officers, and as well as rangers. Does anyone have any questions?
Yep, so I can go ahead and open up the floor for anyone who wants to ask questions to either Winterwolf or the other secretaries. Like I was saying prior, go ahead and raise your hand if you want to speak in VC, or just throw the question in the stage VC chat, and I can read it out loud. So the floor is now open to speakers. It looks like Multiman has requested to speak, so I'll bring you up. Please state who you're asking the question to, or you can ask,
Hi.
because two of them are typing, you can ask to both or all three, and I'll read as it filters out.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask a question to Kato, but first I do want to congratulate you on your election to the Senate, Anthony.
Oh, I
So
won?
congratulations on that. Yeah, you won.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow,
I'll wait.
congrats.
I'll wait to. All right.
But
Yeah.
go moving forward.
Thank you.
Kato, the DCT obviously has been very aggressive with building inspections recently. What is your belief in terms of the balance between the need for people to have flexibility and creativity in their builds and enforcing ISOR standards?
And then while that answer is being typed out, Razzo has asked a question. I'm going to assume for the DOI. Razzo states, a while back, a petition was made to add rabbits to the shelter. Do you have any plans to consider that at all? That would be for Winterwolf, while the other answer is being
Yes.
typed out.
Yes. We're looking into that for the Willow shelter. Uh, Obviously, moving more of the farm animals that are at the Reveille animal shelter and moving those to there as well.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. Thank you for the question, Razzo. Sorry. So, Kato's response is, nice question. I'm fully for creativity in plots, but I also very much support eyesore evictions. I think the balance is the amount of effort in the plot. You don't need to confirm to standard themes for a good plot if you put in enough effort in building. That's my final answer. Yep. And then if you want to ask follow-up questions, feel free, or if you want to ask any of the other secretary picks. That's fine, don't worry, perfect. And again, I'm going to open up the floor if anybody wants to ask any questions, throw your hand up or paste it in the speaker VC chat or stage VC chat. See, do I see any hands? Not at the moment. Alrighty, since I'm not seeing any hands up or questions at the moment, I'm going to give another opportunity for the secretaries if they want to uh, talk about something that they forgot to mention in their original opening statements while we wait for a question to come in. You're free to unmute and talk or type in the chat and I'll read them out until we get a question that pops up. Alrighty, initially I said I won't ask questions, but in sake of trying to keep this thing going, this would be a question for the DOC. Alicia, obviously the current only stock exchange, to my knowledge, for Redmont is the National Exchange of Redmont or the NER. What are your plans to either A, make sure they don't abuse their current monopoly status, or B, to improve on the Service Stock Exchange, and how would you accomplish that? And then since I see you just joined John Bond right now, it is open floor. So if you want to ask a question on VC, you can raise your hand and request to speak, or you can type it um, into the little chat box. Um, and then while you're typing that, I'll bring up John Bond to ask a question. Yep. And then you should have uh, the floor now if you want to ask questions. Right now, Alicia is typing for mine, so you can ask
Hello,
Kato or Winterwolf.
I'm live. You can hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay. I don't really have a question other than how does this game work? I don't understand.
All right, so for that, you can just ask the general global chat, and they're usually very helpful. You can also ask staff, opening a staff ticket. But the purpose of this discussion is for open discussion between the secretary picks in the government and the people. So I'm gonna bump you back down, but like I said, at least the community is very, very helpful. If you just want to talk in ask in global chat or do slash tickets for a staff ticket. But like I said, for the sake of the discussion topic, uh, I'm gonna bump you back down unless you have a specific question for one of the secretaries.
Okay, sir.
Yep, no problem. I forgot to change it to happening now. Let me change topic to live. And thank you, 12700K, for the congratulations. I'm really hoping I did not miss the response because this dude is just selling tons of copper blocks to me. I did not. Perfect. Alicia Crin says, our regulators work closely with the NER to ensure compliance not just with the NER, but the companies listed on it. Monopolization over stock exchanges is an issue that we would like to prevent. Businesses should have more than one option. This is an issue that requires work from the community to create another successful stock exchange. We would be willing to work closely with any individuals looking to set up their own stock exchange to ensure it aligns with our requirements and foster. Yep, thank you for answering and foster its growth. Sorry. Um, yep, thank you for the response there. If anybody had any questions, like I said, throw your hands up or paste it in the VC. If no one has any, I'll come up with another question on the fly. Alrighty, again, seeing no questions, I'm going to ask a question this time to Winterwolf for the DOI. When I first started playing DC, I did a few government grants through the DOI. Um, at the time, I haven't kept up with the prices today, but at the time, amount of work and the amount of materials for the amount of pay that was received, and I won, I think, on the first bid, was not at all at market rates. Will the DOI look to adjust prices, or is this more covered in the new type of tender you were talking about with your entry statement?
So there's multiple parts to that. So I'm not. Would you mind describing like when, what around like what time this happened?
This would have been about 3 months ago. I joined. Um, Let me do about me real quick. I joined July 20th, so probably late July, early August.
Okay, so there's multiple parts to that. So sometimes these tenders can't sit around for a while, and until someone bids for it. What we normally do is we get the numbers from the CPI. We calculate the amounts for each material, um, and we try to use our best judgment, of course, because like sticks can are sometimes used for certain machines, so forth. So we try to adjust for that. We always multiply all the amounts based on the CPI by at least 20%. Sometimes it could be more based on the amount. Sometimes it can be a little less. Um, we also, but one thing we did recently is a delivery bonus. So if you deliver within 24 hours or 48 hours of winning the tender, um, you can get a 25% delivery bonus on top, and that's been quite useful with people actually completing the tenders themselves, because sometimes people don't. Uh, and it's also for timeliness too, especially for it'll prove well for DOH materials, which are obviously more lot very very important compared to like paste paste materials, which yeah. But we would like to work with the DOC, maybe NC, who he used to. I think he's still in the DOC, but he mentioned something a while ago. It was like averaging the amounts of the CPI based on 3 months rather than 1 month. Um, Obviously, that's might be an FRB thing. I haven't really heard much of him recently. Um, Another thing we like to do is, I mean, we obviously try to hear our input, because unfortunately sometimes it does happen that things we honestly, I want to give everyone a fair price for their materials. But yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that question. Kato had to leave. He mentioned to me. Before I wrap this up, from the looks of it, is there any other last minute questions anyone can think of before I wrap up this little town hall here? And I'll give about like 30 seconds to a minute for someone to either raise their hand or type in stage VC. Holy crap, I have a lot of DMs. Oh, I missed something from Alicia. Sorry about that. Alicia stated, was this related to the question I asked, or you wanted to like wrap up in a sense? Uh, but what Alicia said was, another thing I'd like to work on is the grants program. With the DOE closing its operations in the space, the DOC should try to pick up the slack in the areas that in the areas its existing program doesn't address. I would like to see it expanded so that more people have an opportunity to work on their interesting ideas and further promote development and expansion of the Redmont economy. And then Riverard has asked a question. I'm going to assume this is a DOC question. If the two current universities, Pink Tulip Foundation and Heritage University, were to merge, does that violate monopolization slash antitrust law, given that there's only two in the market? Um, while you type up your question, I will note that Mezimori has announced Mezimori University, though it is not complete. That is under my department, and it's not ready to launch I guess within the next few weeks. If you want to note that in your answer, Alicia. I guess a follow-up question I'm going to ask Riverard is, are these both nonprofits, or like registered nonprofits slash tax exempt? What's, I guess, their status in case that's important to the answer? And then Riverard said, not that I know of in terms of nonprofit status. Yep, someone's throwing pipe bombs. And then Alicia responded with, the current university's market space is rather small and still growing. If both universities feel their best choice of action is to merge, then it is probably the right one to take. Redmont can only support so many universities, and I do not think that this merger would currently result in a worsening of conditions for citizens. If you do have any questions about the process, please feel free to reach out to me over it. The government already has its own university to compete with this as well. Yep. And then I did see Budgie Bud did just join. Before we wrap this up, if you have any questions you want to ask the DOC Secretary or Acting DOC Secretary Alicia, feel free to either raise your hand or ask in the stage VC. Same for the DOI Acting Secretary Winterwolf. If you don't have anything, then we will go ahead and wrap this up. And I'll give you like 30 seconds to a minute to think of a question if you want to, Budgie, or anyone else. Alrighty, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up then. Thank you all for coming to the first Mezimori Public Affairs Town Hall. It's kind of a unique idea I haven't seen, so figured I'll try it out and see how it goes. And I think it went well for the first event. Hopefully next time we can get more people up to answer questions. Thank you, Alicia and Winterwolf, and I have to thank Cato when I speak to him next for attending as well, because it is certainly brave to come up and answer questions not knowing what people ask. So I thank you too, and I thank the crowd for showing up. Yep. And other than that, everyone have a good one.